But what I want to understand your mindset, because your mindset was, you were like one of the first ones when I got into the league to think, okay, he's a starting quarterback. He's our franchise quarterback, but you treated it as a job. I mean, you went to work every day, and not only was it you, but it was the Daryl Johnsons of the world. And I've told this story on the show before, is that when I first got to Dallas, you hear about the names like, you, and then you hear Michael Irvin, how flamboyant Michael is, and Emmett, and you hear all these flamboyant names, but then you walk in, and through mini camps, you sort of see, the culture of the team. But then you get in the training camp and you finally figure out, okay, here's the pecking order. And I figured that out when I got to training camp, that, there's a lot of guys that are flamboyant, but you were the guy who showed up every single day and put work in and took it serious. Where did that mindset come in from?
Yeah, well, I appreciate you saying that, Woody. I don't know. I think probably from my father. I was raised pretty tough from my dad, and like I said, he treated me as a grown man from the time I was awfully young, and with responsibility and chores and decision making and things of that nature. And I think that's probably where it came from as much as anything else. And I don't know. I was just kind of determined to. I wanted to be great, but I wanted to be a part of something great. And I kind of knew early on. I remember when Norv took over my third year. So my first 2 years weren't all that great. 9 touchdowns, 18 interceptions in both my first 2 seasons. We were the worst offense in football my second year, and there was 28 teams at that time in the NFL. We were 28th, and Norv came in, and I remember talking to him in training camp, and I really, you talk about urgency in year 2. I really felt it in year 3, and I told Norv, I said, man, and it was his first year as offensive coordinator, and I said, man, we got to, we don't have time to wait. We got to go. And I think it made him probably a little nervous, because he's thinking, hell, this is my first year. But he says, well, we just got to ease into this. I said, we can't ease into anything, Norv. I said, it's time. The clock's running. And so we did. We were well coached. We got off to a good start and really had a good season. But it carried over